Hello, this is Trista. I'm back again with a couple more readings. I had gotten a question from BP asking about prayer, and there was already one prayer video channeling. So some of the questions about prayer are included in that previous video if you want to check that out. But this time the question is, who do you pray to? So he's asking, do you only pray to God? Do you pray to Jesus? Do you pray to higher powers, other powers? And for all practical purposes, when I because of my background, when I talk about a higher power, I'm just going to use the word God. You can substitute in, you know, goddess, Buddha, whatever, great creator, whatever title name you want to include. But for me, I'm just going to use that term. And so they talked a little about that, and then they went on to talk about souls that are struggling to find the light, who are struggling with darkness. Because in a planet of duality like that we're in, we have light and we have dark. So, um, so this is what they said. They say you can pray to and ask for assistance from God, a higher power, or Jesus, or any of the other advanced healing teachers and warriors, such as archangels. There's a difference between praying and asking for assistance. Prayer is a conversation basically between you and your higher power, or you and whoever it is that you're speaking with. So it's a conversation. Asking for assistance is sometimes in prayers, but then sometimes asking for assistance is just asking for help. So there's a difference between praying and asking for assistance. You can ask for assistance in healing to various assigned and contracted guides, angels, spirits, which include your ancestors. They can help you. You can call them in for assistance. They are there to assist you, and that is their job. So if you're asking for assistance, you can to call on those kinds of souls. Praying to and worshiping a higher power is somewhat different. So there's a difference between worshiping a higher power and praying with a higher power. You really wouldn't want to worship your guardian angels, but you may ask them for healing and assistance. It's not their role to be worshipped. And to worship them is not, that's an example, but to worship them or some other kind of soul wouldn't be appropriate. People can make their own choices, but this is what they said. Prayers can be sent and they will get to your creator directly, or they will be delivered by the team that assists that higher power. So, and this is where they said, maybe if you have questions about prayer, check out the other prayer video. And then they started to talk about, because it's in the Bible, and I think part of where this comes from, some people, there's a reference to don't pray to false idols and don't pray to false gods. So I think that there might be a little bit of a question there regarding this. So they said praying to a source that does not represent the light will not assist you towards the light. So there's people out there that have various religions and various and pray to various deities, and they're just saying if you're praying towards to one of those and they're not of the light, that won't necessarily assist you to get to the light, which is kind of what people are looking to do. They're looking to find the light, heal, raise their consciousness, become more evolved, be a more evolved and wiser soul. So they're saying man-made idols or systems don't normally lead to the light. However, there can be some random exceptions. So if you're going to talk about the light, you have to kind of sometimes also realize that there's the other side, which is the dark. So they don't like to focus on that. And my teacher, discouraged us from focusing on the dark. But I think sometimes there are some people who get caught up in some of that. So sometimes it needs to be mentioned. And I'm guessing that there's someone who's going to hear this video who has some questions about this, that maybe they are struggling with the dark, or they have a loved one or friend that they see struggling. And so I think some of this information is for another person that may watch this video down the road. So just to help with that person. Okay, so they say embracing the dark or evil takes you down that path. Being on that path does not guarantee you are lost to the light. Your angels and guides are always there. They never give up or abandon you, and neither does God. Innocent souls are never allowed to stay in the dark. They're always rescued at the right time. Souls struggling to find their way back to the light will always be forgiven and embraced by the light. So if you have someone who has been dabbling, or more than that, in the dark, and they've realized that this is not the right path and they need to get back to the light, and they realize that they made a wrong turn, or made a poor choice, or if just done with that, they will have assistance and they will be welcomed back unconditionally. So if you're looking for the light and you're serious about it and you're genuine about it, there will be healing and assistance for you. Doesn't mean that it won't take some time, and there will be some struggles to get back and to clear that negative energy out of your life and out of your energy. But it's not impossible, and no one should ever give up. People and souls can make mistakes. They can get lost. They can allow the darkness in, or they could not take it seriously, and then realize later that that was something that they should have taken seriously. They may find themselves in a bad place, quote unquote, bad place. Some souls have chosen that path to go down to learn some important lessons, and also to assist others that they find along the way. So not everyone who finds themselves in a dark place is necessarily a dark person, or taken over by the dark. Sometimes they're there to learn a lesson, and sometimes they're there to assist others that are in the same or similar situations. God loves all of his children, and is always there for them at all times. Souls are never forgotten, and souls are never given up on. Even if it doesn't look like someone's going to change, and even to the end, if they get to the end of their lives and they're still haven't made those changes, or still are embracing some darkness, even in the end, after they pass away or as they're passing away, things can shift and they can be embraced by the light. Souls that are struggling can always call out to God, Jesus, guardians of the light, for healing and assistance. Assistance will come in various forms and at the right time. So it doesn't mean that your angel is going to immediately necessarily appear before you and whisk you away. I mean, that is always a possibility, but it's more likely going to be more subtle, and maybe other people or situations come to help, or situations shift. There's an out somehow there. So the assistance will come in various forms and at the right time. So it doesn't necessarily mean it might happen immediately, because the right time might be tomorrow or next week or next year. So the call for help is always answered. It just may not happen immediately. That's a timing thing. And the person involved in that situation may have to come to some realization or learn whatever lessons are tied in with that situation. So they say there is darkness out there in various forms and intensities. Hopefully, most people won't have to encounter that or can stay away from it. They do say playing around with dark energies can also open you up to them. So people that are I don't want to. So people who are playing around with dark energies and opening themselves up and making themselves be vulnerable to dark energies in those situations. I don't necessarily want to say what kind of situations because everyone is different, and I don't want to put a judgment out there on situations, but playing around with it and just thinking you're going to dabble isn't necessarily always the best option. Standing up against the dark energies is a way to fight them. So if you're in a situation where you know you have gone down that path and you just are done and you need to you don't want to do that, be there anymore, you can stand up to it and you can say no, and you can say I'm not doing this anymore. Not all people are all bad. So even the darkest people, they still have some redeeming qualities. They still have light in them. It may be dimmer, but there's always a flicker there of light. And as long as there's that flicker, there's hope that soul for that soul. And they say people can come back to the light. So embracing the light. So if you're in a situation where there's darkness, embracing the light, reaching out to the light, requesting help from the light will help to shed and fight the darkness. Asking for help and getting away from dark situations, even dark people, also helps escape the dark and to find your way back home to the light. So that's all that they said about that. It is kind of sobering and somber information, but I'm guessing that there's somebody who's going to need that information down the road, and that's why it came up. So thank you, BP, for asking the question. I know he wasn't asking about the darkness, but they kind of transitioned into that because I do think there's someone who needs to hear that message and needs that information. So again, if you like the video, please share it, like, subscribe. I have some more videos coming up. Also, I have another one that I'm going to channel tonight, and then I have a couple more questions I still have to finish from the previous list that I had. So have a good night. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to me or write them in the comments. I know it was kind of a heavy topic towards the end there, so if you're having trouble, it may be time to just sit down and reach out to your creator and your guardians and ask for assistance. All right. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.